Hello, I'm Tom Landon. Welcome to another Cardinal News Update. Very happy to have you here today as we continue to speak to the folks at Cardinal News about what they're following. And I'm joined today by both editor Dwayne Yancey and reporter Megan Schnable. And I'm grateful to have both of you. This is the first time we've done it with more than one guest. So I think this is great. So today I just wanted to talk to you. We're all fresh off of a recent event that you all hosted at Virginia Tech at VCOM that was a conversation between Congressman Ro Khanna and Beth Macy, who, full disclosure, I am married to, so just not pretending that's not the case. And so I just want to talk to you about, kind of what your thoughts were after that. And also, Megan, you wrote a story afterwards. Dwayne, you have written extensively about the congressman and about his message for rural America. So I guess we'll just start. Dwayne, this started with an editorial that you wrote, I think, on April 25th, where the headline was why someone should invite Ro Khanna to speak in Southwest or South Side. And why was he high on your list? What brought him to your attention? And, why did you decide to be the person that invited him to come to a forum?
Sure. Well, Ro Khanna is the congressman from Silicon Valley. And he has made a name for himself by advocating that the nation's technology sector should be more widely distributed. That's an unusual message. You don't see the congressman from Detroit going around the country saying, hey, we got too many of these car factories. Why don't you take a few? But he makes the case that technology is too clustered in a handful of places, including his district. And that the country would be better off both economically and civically if rural America in particular, were able to share in that prosperity. He's written a book, Dignity in the Digital Age, that makes that case. Full disclosure, it turns out that some of my previous work with the Roanoke Times is cited in that book. I did not realize that till recently. So I wrote a column talking about his book, saying someone should invite him. I did not realize at the time that someone would be us, although technically he sort of invited himself. He read the column through the miracle of Google Alerts. It came to his attention and offered to come speak. So at that point, we were gearing up our Cardinal News Speaker Series, and he was a speaker offering to come speak. So there you have it.
He has advocated that Silicon Valley make a concerted effort to export jobs, which is a very strange thing for a congressman to say. Yeah. What do you gather that he means by that?
He would like to see the tech companies make more investment in the rest of the country, particularly the part of the country that often gets called, the heartland or flyover country or whatever term you want. He has been to places like Paintsville, Kentucky, Beckley, West Virginia, Jefferson, Iowa, and now Blacksburg to make that case. And then Iowa has been responsible for basically helping lure some tech companies to invest there.
I should also say that Blue Ridge PBS Echo was there to record the conversation with the congressman, and we will be sharing that at a later date. If you subscribe to Blue Ridge PBS Echo on our YouTube channel, you will get a notification when that video is available. So Megan, your story for the Cardinal after the event included a quote, "If we're going to have any chance of repairing our democracy and figuring out how to overcome some of the deep fissures, we have to tackle the extraordinary disparity of economic opportunity in this country." As you listen to this conversation, did you hear anything that struck you as sounding like a plan for doing that?
It's kind of funny. We didn't intend it this way, but the congressman was speaking in Blacksburg at the exact same time as the January 6th committee was airing its very first primetime public hearing. And so I think that divide was on a lot of people's minds. And, since the congressman talked a lot about using sharing the economic wealth as a way to bridge that divide, one of the folks in the audience actually asked the question, well, is it realistic to think that these tech companies are actually going to create jobs in rural areas, or should we, should we be looking more at bringing these kinds of jobs to, smaller cities, sort of the Richmond versus Richlands debate. And the congressman said, absolutely, it's realistic. And he pointed to Jefferson, Iowa, which Dwayne just mentioned. It's a small town, about 4,000 people in Iowa. A couple of years ago, an international software company came in and opened a small software office and a training program where people from the region could come in and get trained, get credentials, and then get software jobs. And he said it's very small. It's a couple of dozen jobs at a time. But he said that's the proof of concept. He said it can work in Jefferson, Iowa. Now we have to figure out how to scale it. And one of the things I thought was interesting was there was a lot of talk about how do we bring Silicon Valley into these small rural areas, but we also talked about the fact that there's a responsibility for smaller tech hubs, places like the Roanoke Blacksburg region, where there's a lot of really interesting, cool technology being developed. What is this region's responsibility to the more rural areas around us? How can we also spread the digital wealth and not just rely on Silicon Valley? He made the point that this can't be top down. It can't be Silicon Valley tech giants or the federal government coming in and saying, here's your plan. It has to be something that is developed at the local level. And he said, we as a smaller tech region should see this as both a responsibility and an opportunity to do that.
And I think, it's interesting. I was speaking after the event to Mary Trajani, who is a big advocate for far Southwest Virginia. And she was talking about, sometimes a good news in St. Paul can be perceived as bad news by, I won't name another town, but another town in the region, when really we're all in this together. So that idea of sort of regionalism in terms of economic development, it's not one chamber of commerce fighting another. It's all of us working together. Dwayne, one of the things that Khanna talked about was how urban Americans, often urge people why don't you just move? That's where the jobs are. Why don't you just move to California? And what did he have to say about, first of all, why is that unrealistic? And what was his take on that?
His response was, this may not be a direct quote, but that was an insult to people's dignity. That no one should be forced to move to get a good job. If people want to move, that's fine, but they should not be forced by circumstance.
And we should say that same thing has been said with the loss of textile and furniture jobs and mining jobs and everything else in our region. I do want to encourage people to watch the entire conversation when we do air it. And like I said, we will make it very clear when that's going to happen, and Cardinal will help us get the word out on that as well. It was a great evening the other night, and we could go a lot longer than this, but I wanted to do a little recap so that people would get a sense for what was discussed and start thinking about attending future events in the speaker series. Is there a plan for what's next in the speaker series, Dwayne?
Yes. The next one that we have confirmed is in September in Danville. Jay Timmons, president of the National Association of Manufacturers, will be speaking there. Some may remember him from years ago when he was chief of staff to the governor, George Allen. We are also working on lining up people for the Bristol-Abington area and also Lynchburg, but we're not ready to announce anything there yet.
That's great. And we will do our best to be there to cover those as well when that happens. I love this partnership. And I want to encourage people to go to cardinalnews.org, to subscribe to their newsletter, to make a donation if you feel so compelled, and also to please go to our channel at blueridgepbs.org/echo and click that subscribe button, because when you do that, you'll be able to keep up with every time we make a new Cardinal News update available. Megan, Dwayne, thank you so much for your time today, and look forward to the next in the Cardinal News speaker series. Thanks for coming today. Bye-bye.